Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call. Welcome back to another edition of a Podapalooza Don't Wait for Your Wake-Up Call podcast. I am here with Alicia Mazzari Anderson. Alicia, it's lovely to meet you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here with you in this show because I loved it. I just love even the name of it. It's so exciting.
Well, we're very much in alignment with that. And we'll definitely ask you later what Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call means to you. But first, I want to introduce you to the audience. So Alicia is a biologist and registered holistic nutritionist with a PhD in botany. She has taught higher education for over 25 years and is dedicated to educating and empowering people to learn and apply a simple, safe, and sustainable holistic lifestyle program that is sustainable through life and that will create happy and healthier families. So I'm 100% in agreement with what your work, love what you're doing, because really what we're both trying to do is, create health, teach people the simple steps they can take in order to be able to improve their health, optimize their health. And when you feel good, you're just naturally happier. So how did you get into this work, Alicia?
Well, I have a funny story because I'm originally from Mexico. I was a very skinny child when I was a kid. I was always sick. It was always either my throat or whatever. I had all kinds of issues. But then I had the opportunity to come to Canada to do a PhD. So I moved here, and it was like my wake-up call for who I am and what am I doing here. But anyway, through my journey, I suffered from constipation, truly. That's my story there without any guidelines or anything. So after working like 6 years in a big university and they didn't give me my position, I went for a walk and my friend said, you love studying. Why don't you just go do what you love? And that's when I decided to do a diploma in holistic nutritionist, a 2-year diploma. I completed it in 10 months because I was so driven by the way I was feeling. I was implementing. I was finally understanding that my constipation was a cause of, having bad moods, screaming to my kids when they were younger, it was just, and I thought I hadn't heard that because that's the way I lived. But no, I completely changed my physiology and my mood changed. And everything else around me started changing.
So I just want to stop right there for a second and just really highlight that, because we have triggers for constipation, which you may go into, but what you were just sharing was not what was triggering your constipation, but the behaviors that were being triggered by the fact that you were constipated. And yes. I know there's a lot of people in the world out there today that are constipated. There's so many people with gut issues. Not only do you have the discomfort of that, but how is that then impacting how you behave and how you're showing up in the world, how you're treating your loved ones and your friends? Because you've probably never even stopped to connect those dots. And that was a huge nugget that Alicia just dropped on you that you might want to start thinking about. And that's why I wanted to highlight it, because it's the ripple effect of how you feel to then how you behave. So keep going, Alicia.
So definitely. And this happens to every age group. And of course, because of the background I have in biology, and I have taught all kinds of courses in biology, from ecology to all that, I am very connected to our food. Where is our food coming from? What are the changes that have happened to our food that have taken us to the health that we have today?
Yes.
And so anyway, so another story is that like when I came to Canada, within 4 months, I went from a size 7 to a size 13. And I was eating exactly the same food. And now that I know what happened, it's like I need to tell people, it's like you need to understand the quality of your food. You need to understand what they're putting in your food. You need to understand how to grow food and how to eat as healthy as possible. Because when you change the way you eat, and again, you change your behavior. And I see this in kids all the time, Melissa. Like I go to, like my daughter is a teacher. So I used to go to her classroom and I'm like, I just look at the lunches and I'm like, it's like, this kid is going to have a tantrum in half an hour. Sure enough, my daughter's like, how you know, Mom? I'm like, just take a look at what he's eating. And anyway, half an hour later, there's a tantrum. And my mom is like, and my daughter's like, oh, Mom, like you can truly connect. I'm like, yes, you can truly connect behavior with what you're putting in your mouth simply by looking at, and I'm just going to talk about one thing, right? Everybody, we all know this beautiful white powder that it's been added to the food because otherwise it doesn't taste good. Well, it's hiding everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And so it's important to understand what happens to our bodies and what happens to a child before they go to school. So I have this funny story because I have a program called Happy Healthy Kids Adventure, and a 4-year-old in Mexico was learning this without even reading. It's through playing and stuff. Anyway, so his dad, a medical doctor, is having Cheerios with milk before he goes, like really quickly, I got to eat before I go to work. And the 4-year-old turns to his dad and said, Dad, have you noticed how much sugar you're eating before you go to work? So
I love that.
Like they stopped right there and looked at him and looked at his wife. And then she told him, we'll talk later. That day, his dad changed the way he was eating because of his 4-year-old son. So I call these kids my heroes because when you learn this at an early age, it's like, whoa, what a difference does that make to your own health, right?
100%. Yes. And I'm going to stop you again there because you're just sharing so many things. So one thing I want to just go back to the point that you made about when you moved to Canada and you didn't change what you were eating, but you went from a size 7 to a size 13 because in Mexico, you were getting more organic food. The soil was more nutrient rich, and the food you were eating was less processed, right? And when you got to Canada, you're still eating the same foods, but it was more processed, even right down to, the way the wheat is processed, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And so many additives put into the foods in North America to give added shelf life, et cetera, right? Yes. So that's what that difference was for you.
Yes.
And then to your next point is about educating the kids, because when the kids learn this, they have their whole life ahead of them to be making better choices than what you were making unbeknownst to you when you first moved to Canada, because we didn't, depending when that was, we didn't necessarily know what we know today about the impact of sugars and GMO foods and the chemicals added for lengthening the shelf life, etc. And so we didn't have this information as children. But as we talked about before the show, once we have the information, then we can't undo that knowledge. It's a matter of what are you going to do with that information? And you can start making better choices, and it's never too late to start, right?
That's right. As we were saying, you're never too young to start either.
Exactly.
And never too old.
Exactly. It's never too late, never too young. Whenever you start, it's going to have profound health benefits on your body because of the impact and that direct connect, as you were talking about, between the food that you're eating and how that has your body functioning and how it has you feeling and how it has you behaving. That's correct. And the body is very forgiving. When we create the environment for healing, it will heal. So I love everything that you're sharing because it's so, so true. And I just wanted to highlight some of these key points to really drive them home to people that you can do this. You have the power to effect massive change on your own long-term health outcomes by tuning in and listening to Alicia right here today and learning about this. So keep going.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, like learning when they asked me, how long did it take for you after gaining, from going from size 7 to size 13? I mean, well, it was about 8 years later that I was pregnant and I lost 2 babies. And before I had my first daughter, and now I understand it, but back then I didn't. And again, what are they putting into everything, into the meat, into the dairy, I love cheese, And so anyway, I didn't realize that. And now that I do, it's like they call me, actually my partners call me the queen of poop reading, because watching a poop tells me so much information about your health.
Yes.
And this is the typical question. This is a typical question from a mom. It's like, my kid does not eat vegetables. That is that. Like the typical thing is, my kid does not eat vegetables. And I'm like, and do you? Let's look at your plate. Let's look at what you're showing your kid that you're actually doing, here. What are you showing them? Because they learn from seeing, from imitating you, especially when they're younger. And so anyway, and it's like, and then I go into, how's your poop? And then moms go like, no, ask my child. Don't ask me, It's so funny. Even teenagers go like, I remember giving a talk to teenagers, and there was this girl, and she brought her boyfriend. And when I started talking about poop reading, she goes like, and her boyfriend was like, all like this, like, can you tell me more about it? I think I'm constipated. That changed his journey. That day changed his journey, because, he was really in, we all poop, but nobody talks about it. Why don't we talk about poop when it gives me so much information? Now, when you go see your doctor, how much time does your doctor spend talking about poop? Nothing.
Yeah.
And when you bring your kids, they will tell you, oh, is pooping okay? Is peeing okay? Is that normal? And you go, yeah. Oh, no problem. Check mark. But there's way more information about this. It's just that a medical doctor doesn't have time to go over it.
It's true.
But I can tell you so much about people's health and people's eating habits from reading their poop. It's amazing.
I agree with you. I actually have a poop chart, and it's designed for kids so that they can put it like in the bathroom and post it on the wall, so then the child can start to connect with their poop and look at the poop before they flush the toilet, so they can have that understanding of what's a healthy poop and what's not a healthy poop. And maybe I need to hydrate more. Maybe I need more fiber, by looking at the chart and seeing what it says. And I agree, it does give us so much information. And I'm like you, I talk about it. And on podcasts, I talk about it in my detox training programs. And I tell people, you need to let me know if you are constipated, because we're doing a detox program. We need to make sure the toxins are coming out. So if you're feeling constipated, we need to take additional steps to make sure that we're getting your body moving and address those issues. And it comes down to food, and then, we can support with supplements. So all of this is so important. And as you say, we can teach it to our children, and then they have this information for the rest of their lives.
But when they are aware, I think something, Melissa, very important, when they are aware of it at a young age, it's just it's nature.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And it's not like the bad thing about going pooping. Well, we all poop, period.
It's a normal thing.
It's a normal thing. Bad thing is when you don't, or when you have diarrhea.
Exactly.
Like I remember one of my first clients, she came to see me about 11 years ago, I think. She was 93 years old, and she came to see me because the doctors had told her that they couldn't do anything about her diarrhea. And all she wanted to do is go to church. But she couldn't, because she had constant diarrhea. She had to get up and go to the washroom all the time. So I told her, well, you needed more fiber. She was like, no, don't give me more vegetables. I'm like, you really need a lot more fiber. So anyway, to make the long story short, she passed away last year at 103. She lived another 10 years without diarrhea, and she was able to go to church.
Nice.
And to me, she's like the typical example of listen to your body.
Yes.
We don't know how to listen to what the cues that our body is telling us. What is your body telling you? And people go like, how do I read my body? It's like, Do you really know your body? Can you read your body? Is there something on your skin? Are you getting headaches? Are you tired? You don't have energy? Are you feeling cranky? Is keeping hyperactive? Like, what are the cues that we need to learn about listening to our body to go into this healthy journey, as you mentioned, right?
Yes.
And
I agree with you 100%. I consider symptoms to be the way the body is trying to talk to you. And then, as you say, you have to listen to it and not just say, oh, it's aging, it's genetics, it's seasonal allergies, or whatever excuse, and you push through and you keep ignoring it. You have to say, why is this happening? And try to understand it and work with somebody who has the time that can help you get to that. And you've mentioned diarrhea, you've mentioned constipation. Those are signs of an unhappy gut. Something is going on inside your gut, and we need to rebalance it. And that can be caused by stress. It can be caused by poor nutrition, poor sleep, pharmaceutical drugs, so many factors. But it can be resolved because the body is so forgiving when we create that opportunity for it to heal. So I know you mentioned you have a program right now that you're really working on targeting at children. And I love that you're addressing children because, like you said, they can have profound impact when the child learns and they'll just call their parent out. And that can create change in the entire household, like your example of the doctor in Mexico. So I love that you're focusing on children. What's your program? Please share that with us.
Well, our program is called Happy Healthy Kids Adventure. And the best way to actually get even started is if you go to my social media, I have a free gift, which is called the Detective Game. So what is the Detective Game? The Detective Game was actually created because of a 5-year-old who came out of one of our events and told and he was just anxious to talk to his mom, and his mom was talking to me, and I'm like, and then the mom turned on, I'm like, what is it? And he goes, I don't know where the sugar is hiding. And it was true. Like, he learned where the sugar was hiding. They started decreasing the sugar and all that at home, but find out where that sugar is hiding, because our food industry has put so much sugar because they decrease the fats that are that's what the flavor, and so they decrease the flavor, so now we need to add sugar to so anyway, if you go to my social media, on Instagram, we're at kids.imbalance, because the original program was called Kids in Balance, and our I think on Facebook we're as Kids in Balance Wellness. And so anyway, they're both linked. So if you go to any of those, there's always a link to our free gift, the Detective Game. So start with the Detective Game, play the Detective Game. That will take you to a free workshop. And from that free workshop, if you're interested, that will take you to our Happy Healthy Kids Adventure program. So
fabulous. So I'll put all of that
one step at a time.
It's one step at a time. Yes. I love that. So it's not overwhelming.
Yeah. And something that I would like to tell parents and the audience is, we're all addicted to sugar because it's hiding. We don't even know we're consuming it. Sugar is because it's highly addictive. The only way of getting rid of it is tapering down, because it's like a drug. You need to taper down. You cannot just take it off because you'll go crazy and your kids will go crazy. So anyway, just find out where it is, taper it down, figure out how to do it, and make it fun, because food should be fun. And always get your kids involved in the kitchen. Always get your kids involved into what's important in the kitchen. I remember a family, a 5-year-old, if a 2-year-old will open the fridge, take out the carrots, give them to give them to her 5-year-old brother. The brother would wash them and peel them, and they will eat carrots all the time when they were hungry. That's what they ate. They prepared their own food. This is what you want your kids to open the fridge and say, I want healthy food, and have it available. Have it available for them and show them what is possible at home. So. And
model that for them, as you said, as well.
And model it for them. Yes.
So we just wrapping up here. Thank you so much for your time, for all of these tips. It's fabulous, fabulous information for every single person on this earth. And what does don't wait for your wake up call mean to you?
It means basically you're never too young to get started.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what you do today matters for the rest of your life. So you're really
Absolutely.
setting your kids up for success by having them join Alicia's programs so that they know this from a young age. Wonderful. Thank you very, very much. I'll make sure I get all of your social media contacts, etc., everything into the show notes. And was one last tip you would like to leave with the audience?
Without your health, there's no dreams.
Very, very true. Very profound. Thank you, Alicia, for sharing your wisdom. And to my audience, thank you, as always, for being here and being open to learning about and optimizing your health. If you're enjoying my content and someone that wants to step into being proactive in your health and learning more, I would love to invite you to join my membership community. There's a link in the show notes. For only $19.99 a month, you get access to all of my content, and there's a lot, as well as weekly calls that you can come and get your health questions answered. It's truly priceless. I'd love to see you join the community. Check out the link in the show notes.